Hello everyone. Sold the 421 calls. We bought down here for over 130%. So in today's video, we have to take a look at what the next steps are for the market. What does this mean for the market? How much higher can we go? My thought process, to make it short and sweet, is we should get a bit of a pullback and then a continued rip to the upside into the beginning or to the middle of December. All right. But immediately, let's see what the next steps are for the market in the short term. All right, so we're going to take a look at the overall market. We're going to take a look at the SP500, the NASDAQ, the Russell, the dollar, the bonds, the VIX, the yields, all that good stuff. So without further ado, let's get started with the video. First and foremost, I want to take a look at my trading bot. It is absolutely doing well on multiple different time frames. As you can see, this is the 1 minute, the 5 minute, and the 15 minute. We caught the entire move to the upside. On the 15-minute time frame, we saw that the overall momentum was extremely bullish, and on the 5-minute as well, we caught moves to the upside as well as the downside. And the only trade on the 5-minute time frame that was a bit chopped out was at the extreme highs, where we got a fake out, but then we ended up seeing on the 1-minute time frame 2 sell signals at that same moment, and then another strong sell signal that really hammered the market down into close. All right, so if you guys want access to this bot, the link is in the comments. Along with the bot, you guys will also get access to one-on-one coaching with me, live day trading, a closed Discord group, and daily trade recaps for members only. All right, so there's that. So if you guys are interested in this killer product, follow the steps in the comments below, and I'll be sure to send that to you ASAP. All right, first and foremost, we have FOMC minutes coming out tomorrow at 2 p.m. So there is absolutely going to be some chop headed into this meeting. All right. Number two, obviously you guys know that Nvidia is also going to have earnings tomorrow after hours as well. So tomorrow, heading into Wednesday, is going to be really difficult, essentially, to hold anything overnight. So here's the interesting little issue currently on the dollar. All right, so we know that the dollar has an inverse relationship to the market. If the dollar is doing well, then obviously the market is not doing well. Okay, so what we see immediately on the dollar is 2 main things. Okay, number one, we see a falling wedge pattern on the dollar. And we know that falling wedges are extremely bullish patterns. Okay, so this can continue falling lower. We could end up making another low tomorrow. Okay, but this is a falling wedge, and falling wedges are generally bullish. If this ends up bouncing, then that is going to be bearish for the overall market. Okay, that's number one. Number two is the Bollinger Bands on the dollar are in free fall. So regardless of where we open, because the Bollinger Bands here are just pointed straight down, we can still end up opening within the Bollinger Bands. So we could still end up falling dramatic. We could open within the Bollinger Bands and fall dramatically again lower. So there's still more room to the downside, and according to the dollar, which is bullish for the market. But this falling wedge is nothing to be played with, and it's just a matter of time before we get a bit of a bounce on the dollar, in my opinion. Okay, next, let's go ahead and take a look at the yields. Okay, so this is a chart of the 10-year yields, and you can see that it's also in a falling wedge pattern. And once again, falling wedges are extremely bullish, and the yields, as we know, have an inverse relationship to the market. If the yields are bullish and popping, then that should generally be bearish for the market. So now that we have a falling wedge on the dollar and the yields, it's going to be interesting to see if we end up making another low on the yields here, coming back to retest the bottom level of this wedge and then bounce. In general, once again, it's just a matter of time, in my opinion, before the yields end up bouncing as well. So that's my outlook, and that's my thought process for the yields. All right, so this is a chart of the VIX, and the VIX is continuing to make new lows, and it's just staircasing down. That $14 level on the VIX is clearly did not hold, and we're trading below it now. So the VIX is important because it has an inverse relationship similar to the dollar and the yields. So if the VIX is falling, obviously that's bullish for the market. So the fact that we just completely just broke and made a completely new low from what we were holding before, I'm interested to see if this ends up being a bull trap. So that's essentially my thought process. With the dollar and the yield so close to potentially bouncing, and the VIX basically just completely eradicating the support level and closing lower, I would be interested to see if we end up just falling again lower. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but regardless, you know, the selling has been controlled and it's been staircasing down. So they've been controlling the volatility and just selling it off. This was essentially this entire move to the upside that we saw today was a product of late bulls and essentially CTAs aggressively buying. So that's really it, and that cannot really sustain itself. And based off of the dollar and the yields as well as the VIX here, it's a lot of these things are showing that we're going to end up bouncing. So that's my thought process on those. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other things. So these tech stocks are showing a lot of strength as well. Google obviously doing really well today. Microsoft made another high. Amazon also doing really well. Meta broke above its level of resistance again, above that 337 level, and bounced back up to 340. Now it's just trying to see if it could break above 340. Apple did really well, also broke above 190 comfortably, and it's trading above 191. Tesla also did relatively well. It bounced off of Friday's lows, and it had a bit of a move to the downside early on, but then it ended up closing regardless above 235. So Tesla did really well. Nvidia is back up above. Nvidia is up above $500. So this is not, once again, like these. So my point is that how is it possible for you to begin to be bullish up here, right? So obviously, I'm not saying anyone is going to start like entering into new longs here, right? But my point and the reason why I say it like that is because every single day there is essentially a new opportunity. And at each of these new opportunities, you have to think, what is the best opportunity for bulls versus bears? With Nvidia at an all-time high, it makes absolutely no sense to start being bullish over here. Obviously, you don't want to be a buyer above Nvidia, above 500 on Nvidia. You would rather wait for it to pull back, right? But then what's interesting is that Nvidia has earnings tomorrow, and this could also be a earnings run-up. As we know, that's what ends up happening with these large tech stocks. They have earnings run-ups where they end up performing well into their earnings date, and then, you know, after their earnings, they could either skyrocket up or fall down. But usually, large tech stocks and just large companies in general have an earnings run up. So this could be that. And the other thing, which is difficult to just automatically be long or short, is the Fed minutes coming out at 2 p.m. So there's a lot of ambiguity heading into tomorrow in terms of swinging. But I definitely, just logically speaking, you don't want to start adding to longs here, or you don't want to start being a bull over here. This is very, 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 very late to be a bull in general over here above 450, which is absolutely ridiculous. There's no reason to start being a bull here. What is most likely going to end up happening is, once again, we're going to have a bit of a shallow pullback on the market, which is completely normal. And from there, my thought process is we're going to continue to break upwards into December or the middle of December, because that would correlate to the November and December positive seasonality, right? So in general, guys, it's just thinking about this from a logical standpoint. The buying pressure that we saw here most likely is not going to be sustainable, but it's not an automatic reason to be extremely bearish, because at the end of the day, this is a lot of buying pressure. But you have to essentially wait for, you could either play light to the short side, or you could just wait for another, you could wait for a pullback and go long. So either way, in the next few weeks, in my opinion, we should be continuing on higher. But in the short term, it's still yet to be confirmed, essentially, tomorrow with the news and Nvidia earnings. And then, especially Wednesday and Friday, historically, over the past few decades, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving and the Friday after Thanksgiving, over 70% chance those 2 days end up being green overall. So we should end up having like a green week overall. So if we look at this on a weekly chart, we're currently up obviously 0.77%, since the SPY is up obviously 0.77%. And historically, if from Friday to this coming Friday, the SPY is up above 2%, the thing that I showed yesterday was that from December of basically this year, 2023, to December of 2024, the S&P 500 is going to be up green for the year and up over 20%. So in general, you know, a lot to look at. Wednesday and Friday should be historically bullish. And tomorrow, I'm assuming we should get a bit of a pullback, or Tuesday, Wednesday, we should get a bit of a pullback to around 458. That's what a lot of people are going to be looking at. 448, but at least this 450 level. So 448 would be really, really nice, but we're going to be looking at that 450 level. So that's what my thought process is. And regardless, as you know, after a big rip to the upside, this is not a time to start going long. It is rather a time to start taking profit or to start leaning light short. All right, so that's my thought process for the market. The other last thing that I want to show you guys is the IWM on a 1 hour time frame. So we were looking at how the IWM was also in a falling wedge pattern, right? It broke out, it made a bull flag, and then it made another leg up. This should be getting a bit of a pullback here as we are back close to this 180 level. Okay, so like I was saying, it was very, very difficult to go short on the initial bounce, but on the second leg up, it becomes a better opportunity to go short, in my opinion. So based off of this, based off of all of the other things that I was looking at, especially since the IWM is still trading below 181 and 182, and we know that the IWM was sector rotation winner, right? A lot of things are pointed to a bit of a pullback heading into Tuesday and Wednesday. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Once again, if you guys want access to everything, definitely check out the comments below. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Thank you.